Here are the starting lineups for the Rams. It is a veteran group. 4 of the 5 are either seniors or grad students. And for GW, Rafael Castro, the junior, is their star, leading this team in both scoring and rebounding. Chris Caputo is the head coach of the Revolutionaries in his 3rd year. He does have experience in the A-10, having worked as an assistant at George Mason. Well, for VCU, it is Ryan Odom in his 2nd year, following 2 years at Utah State, the North Carolina native, and also the son of former South Carolina and Wake Forest coach Dave Odom. VCU trying to keep pace with George Mason at the top of the conference. George Mason with a very impressive overtime win on the road last night at St. Louis. And GW trying to climb back towards the 500 mark here in league play. George Washington in the white, VCU the dark. And away we go from Foggy Bottom. Though it's more frozen than foggy right now, with close to 6 inches of snow here in the last 24 hours.
You can see a lot of ball pressure defense immediately. There's not going to be much breathing space for any offense in this game.
Into Castro. He fumbled it, had it taken away, and then it immediately is thrown to Hansen. First 3 from Autry. Comes to Castro for the easy putback.
How appropriate. The 2 best teams in the A-10 at stealing the basketball both get a steal here in the first 30 seconds. And the best rebounder in the A-10, Castro, gets the first rebound. Everyone according to script.
That is a microcosm of what we expect to see through the entire 40 minutes here tonight. Both teams coming in off a win, but VCU on a special kind of heater right now, having won 3 in a row and 9 of 10. Christian Jones coming up short and pulled away by the Rams. They love to run. Bamasil, though, can't run that one down. Shoga with his pass a little too far for his intended target.
We already saw a 3rd steal in the game by VCU, and here's the full court pressure. These 2 teams' identity is pressure, and they want that pressure to be disruptive and intimidating. We'll see which team buckles first.
Dr. John, when you have 2 identities that are very similar, both like the defensive pressure, as Hansen drives baseline, kicks it out for Autry, thought about it, finds Jones, and they're 0 of 2 from 3-point range, but Castro has his 2nd bucket. 4 points in the early going and a 4-0 lead. But back to my point, when you have 2 teams both defensive-oriented, what gives? What's going to be the difference?
On paper, you would think it's the veteran guards of VCU.
Castro has all 6 points for the Revolutionaries here in the first 2 minutes. 3 turnovers by VCU. Bamasil can't connect on the corner 3. And a terrific start here at home, where GW has been terrific this year with an 11-2 record. Castro ran into a wall. 8 to shoot. Furthest they've taken the shot clock down here in the early going, but it is Jones who's able to hit. The first player than another Castro to score. The Rams with 4 turnovers and only 1 shot here in the first 2.5 minutes, and it's an 8-0 lead for the home side. And Shoga is going to draw contact in the game's first infraction, a foul on Trey Autry.
Castro, the best rebounder, best offensive rebounder, and that was a one-on-one battle. And then the athleticism in the fast break. You wonder why Castro's so much better at GW as opposed to his, lack of opportunity at Providence. And they're taking advantage of his athleticism. They use him as a rim runner, as a rim roller, and put him in space.
Corner 3. And finally, VCU gets on the board. Jack Clark connecting, the grad student from the Philly area who's played at LaSalle, North Carolina State, and Clemson. And this is going to be a foul on Philip Russell, first against VCU here on the night.
Oh, and Hutchinson and Russell are, that Tony Crisp, I think, had his back turned. If he saw that could have been a technical foul on Hutchinson, but Tony Crisp gives a warning, which is always good. But this is an indicator of the intensity you're going to see, defensively and emotionally.
Joe Coy, Hutchinson just coming in off the bench for GW. And that's going to be a traveling violation. Second turnover by George Washington.
So already players coming in. Zeb Jackson, who would start at most places in America, has the luxury of coming off the bench for VCU, and Hutchinson off the bench for GW. With this relentless ball pressure, both teams have to keep their guards fresh. No one can handle this kind of pressure for 40 minutes alone.
This is Russell getting into the lane, shooting over the top of Castro. VCU hammers the boards. They'll send 4 to the glass, one of the top offensive rebounding teams in the nation. Darren Buchanan backing in on Clark. Now Trey Autry. And he finally connects from downtown. 1 of 2 from three-point range. First triple for GW here, extending their lead. Traveling violation, VCU already with 5 turnovers. Chris Caputo doing more than surviving here at GW. He is thriving in his 3rd year. He was an assistant coach at Miami. He's been with Jim Larrañaga for many years. The native of Elmhurst, New York, though, now on his own, doing well with the Revs.
He spent this year with a great defensive emphasis. This team at GW was good offensively last year, one of the nation's worst defensively, and all that time and effort is really paid off. GW's defense, one of the best, not only in the A-10, but in the country right now.
Are the 5 turnovers by the Rams so far a product of the GW defense, or more just sloppy play on VCU's part?
I think it's a little bit sloppy on VCU's part so far.
Drumgoole charging, spinning off of Castro. It hit the backboard, and the scramble for it winds up in the hands of the Rams. Driving all the way, Zeb Jackson. And here comes Buchanan. A wild first 5 minutes here in our nation's capital. Both teams turning the ball over more than they typically do. Substitution as Drumgoole comes out, and the first appearance of Ty Bevins, the freshman from Maryland, for George Washington.
The way these teams do it, they put extreme pressure on the ball. People off the ball are in gaps with active hands, always swiping at the ball, forcing people to dribble into crowds just like that. They make you drive, but they don't give you space to drive.
Six to shoot. Autry tries to draw the foul on the three-point attempt. Michael Bell just in off the bench, his first appearance of the night. Shulga for a 3. Team's leading three-point shooter. Misses on his first. Now Jackson. And VCU cold from the field here on the road in the early going. Foul here on Max Shulga, the senior from Ukraine. His first of the night, the second leading scorer. First team all A-10 player from a year ago.
So the only statistical thing that would be a concern for VCU is they do foul. Opponents shoot more free throws, but they've looked at their pressure and their offensive rebounding and the vast number of points they score off turnovers and offensive rebounds. They're willing to pay the cost of a few fouls to be disruptive like we see right here.
It really is a very technical calculus, isn't it?
It is. It's cost benefit.
Hansen driving. Was double teamed. And VCU coming away, but only 1 of 7 on offense from the field. As they look to get back in this ball game, they've only hit 1 basket, a three-pointer, some 4 minutes ago. And this is where they hit it from, and now they've got 2. Michael Bell, the sophomore from London. 2 triples, and they cut the deficit to 5.
And that's Bell was 1 for 21 on threes before he took that. Last game at Dayton, he shot an air ball on that. So as an opposing coach, that drives you nuts. You tell your players, hey, this guy's only made 1 3 all year, play off him. Then he hurts you.
VCU is a team that lives by the 3. Here's Hutchinson sizing up a triple, and he jars it for GW. Jacoy Hutchinson coming off the bench, the sophomore from Laurel, Maryland. Played at DeMatha High School, also went to IMG before landing here in his hometown.
Hutchinson shooting 18% on threes. Bell was shooting 4% on threes, so some unlikely snipers early on. But that's because they're following the scouting reports, letting certain people get looks, but they've been hurt by it.
And the foul called on Sean Hansen. That's the first on the grad student from New Jersey.
The shot fake is what sells it on that play. And shot fakes are for free. I think they're so underused because all you got to do is show the ball. If your man stands up, you get a free drive.
So first free throw for either team here in this game. Zeb Jackson, the grad student from Toledo, Ohio, the transfer from Michigan, where he played for 2 years for the Wolverines. He connects on his first. He is a terrific free throw shooter. In fact, made 13 of 14 from the line in their last game. That was the win at Dayton on Friday.
93% in conference play. And he's part of this VCU strength. Their core of fifth-year guards. Bamisil, Shulga, Russell, Jackson. One of them has to come off the bench. It's Jackson. And that only really happened because he was injured the first 4 games of the year, so he couldn't start. And they've just stayed with this rotation. To bring someone like Zeb Jackson off the bench is truly a luxury, an embarrassment of riches in the backcourt.
This day and age, teams are really starved for depth. So that is a luxury for this squad. Hansen down low.
That was obviously really good offense with drawing help. Hansen screening and rolling and finding him open.
Shulga. Double comes. Finds Russell. And there's the offensive rebound by Jennings, who came flying in. That's what the Rams do so well. But then they cough it up.
And that's what GW does well, steal the ball. It's going to be hard to have the ball in your hands this game because you're going to be attacked by more than one defender.
Hansen, a straightaway 3. Buchanan, the offensive rebound, the foul, and 1.
I have to say, I am surprised at GW's force on the glass. VCU is by far the best rebounding team in the A-10, but you couldn't tell that today based on the work of Buchanan and Castro.
Darren Buchanan, the redshirt sophomore from right here in the D.C. area. Transfer from Virginia Tech. A member of the A-10 all-rookie team last year. And actually led the A-10 in field goal percentage a year ago. Missed some time earlier this season with an ankle injury. But now with that free throw, he gives GW their largest lead of the night. Eight minutes deep here, first half from the Smith Center in D.C. Russell had it pop back at him, and that went off of Nissa and out of bounds.
Interesting. The game plan against Castro was whoever's guarding him, box him out, and we don't even care if you get the rebound. Just please keep Castro off the glass. The rest of us will fly in, clean up rebounds. But so far, Castro has not been able to be kept off the glass.
Rafael Castro had George Washington's first 6 points of the game. And he's been part of a dominant performance in the paint. 12-0 for the Revs over the Rams in points in the paint so far in this game.
And that's astounding because VCU is one of the top shot blocking teams, rim protecting teams in the country. So GW off to a terrific start, making a statement.
Bamisil lays it up and in. Joe Bamaseal, the grad student from just southwest of the Richmond, Virginia area, leading this team in scoring this season, averaging 16 per game.
And played his freshman year here at GW. It's the first time he's been on this court as an opposing team.
And Drumgoole lays it up and in. Gerald Drumgoole, typically hitting from downtown, but that time found his way in the paint, and that time a foul is called on George Washington.
Something GW does is keeping the ball on the side, and here's Drumgoole just, attacking a closeout. And this, I haven't seen a team score at the rim against VCU like this all year long.
And inside to Clark, who finally gets on the board himself. He had been trying to drive baseline multiple times, but it was that time where Shulga found him for an uncontested dunk. Wild shot from Nissa, and two defenders on him and kind of forced it up. Ten-point lead for GW. VCU is the team that typically wins by double digits. Shulga in the corner for Russell. He sizes up a three, and he's fouled as he plants it. Maybe that will jumpstart this VCU squad.
Back-to-back assist by Shulga. Right here, he knows where the open person is. When he drives, the help's coming from the weak side corner. He knows exactly who's open. And if VCU's able to overcome this slow start, it will be with their veteran guards. Shulga, 5th year, Bamaseal, 5th year, Russell, 5th year, Zeb Jackson, 5th year. That's been the backbone of this team. And these guys are playmakers and play breakers on defense.
Philip Russell completes the 4-point play. The grad student from St. Louis. He originally walked on at St. Louis University as a freshman, spent 2 years at Southeast Missouri State, and then went to UT Arlington before eventually making his way to VCU.
Watch Russell's ball pressure. It's so intense. There's going to be either a foul on Russell soon or some kind of push-off retaliation because he attacks the ball.
Midway through this first half of play, GW has led from the outset. Trey Moss with his first three, and he buries that. This is not a good three-point shooting team in George Washington, but a solid start from downtown here tonight. Out of bounds and over to the Revolutionaries.
Both teams are doing a great job getting paint touches and kicking to the opposite side. The most open person in basketball is always going to be the person on the opposite side because that's where teams help and protect the rim from. We've seen the last 2 threes come from weak side kickouts.
George Washington last in the A-10 in three-point shooting, but well over 40% so far in this first half, helping them stretch this lead back out to 8.
Expect them to double Buchanan as he dribbles.
Moss for a second three. Bamaseal driving, and he's going to be fouled by Hutchinson.
Yeah, Bamaseal in transition is like a freight train. He's so athletic, you're really not going to stop him once you start backpedaling. He put on 20 pounds of muscle this offseason and improved his max vertical jump to 46 inches. So he is a highest level NBA type athlete. If you give him a running start, he's going to score or get fouled.
He was on the A-10 all-tournament team last year as well, and then the set play goes awry. However, they're going to get another crack at this. And it's thrown down by Luke Bamboyer, the freshman who gets on the scoreboard here. Third in the A-10 in block shots, and this is a guy who doesn't get all that much playing time, but yet he's so effective.
He has one of the best block rates in America. And look how closely guarded every dribble is.
Shot clock at single digits here, and Jacoy Hutchinson is tied up. Jump ball favors VCU.
And that's a perfect example of pressure defense. Force someone to dribble, but then off the ball being gaps, and there's no room to drive.
Now GW has lost 3 straight here at home to VCU, trying to turn that around. With a win, they would go to 12-2 at the Smith Center, and it would be their best home record in a decade. They have been terrific here on their home floor so far this season. Bamasil, deep 3. Joe Bamasil against his former team. He came here as a sophomore, was third-team All-A-10, had 18 points last year against them, and is only ever meeting with GW since transferring. And it's a big 3 here.
Watch Clark screen his own man. He's going to screen Buchanan because he knows Buchanan's switching. That's a vet move. Usually when you screen your teammate's man, but against switching, you trickily screen your own man. Terrific job by the 7th-year college player, Jack Clark, who's had a couple medical red shirts, and that's the reason for this longer career. But what a vet.
1 possession game as Castro drives hard, and he's going to be fouled by Bamboye. Now the VCU Rams, top 10 nationally in several defensive categories.
They defend the arc with great ball pressure. They just don't give you room. They make you drive, then they have shot blockers at the rim, so there's no safe place. You're not going to be open outside the arc. You go to the rim, you have all these long arms. But today, George Washington is attacking this defense by getting paint touches, kicking out opposite, knowing where the help is and who the open man is. Terrific job by the young GW guards. Hutchinson is a sophomore who's out there now. The other point guard, Jones, is a redshirt freshman. Autry, number 00, is a sophomore. So these young guards doing a great job against a very good VCU pressure defense.
Rafael Castro gets both free throws. He's got 8 points, coming off a 15-10 performance in the win over St. Bonaventure in their most recent game.
A little bit of zone pressure by George Washington, just continually trying to keep the other team off balance.
VCU started 2 of 9 from the field, but they're 5 of 6 since. And they've finally started to get on track. 5 to shoot here. Shulga, top 3-point shooter on the team, and that is a bullseye for Max Shulga. His first triple of the night. And the Rams close to within 2.
Another outstanding screen by VCU. Bamboye getting Shulga open that time.
7 minutes remaining here in this first half. GW has led by as many as 11. Hutchinson, fall away 3.
Second 3 of the game. Hutchinson came in only shooting 18% on threes.
Bamasil on the miss. And now Buchanan running into Clark. Lead back to 5, and GW trying to add to it. Hutchinson uses the screen and can't connect from 3. However, number 3 is fouled on the rebound. Darren Buchanan, another offensive rebound for this Revolutionaries team.
Both teams emphasize boxing out in this game because they know their opponents are crashing the boards. But right here, Buchanan just imposing his will, winning a one-on-one box out battle against Bamasil. Sometimes it's all about individual battles. It's mano-a-mano, it's a box out, it's a crash, and who's going to win that tussle.
So Darren Buchanan at the free throw line.
So you see significant differences there. He was preseason second team All-A-10, and he was averaging 15 points a game before he injured his ankle. It was in practice the day before the Dayton game. Then his team knocks off Dayton, who was just coming off a top 25 ranking. Then they go on the road and beat a very good Rhode Island team. And now when Buchanan's healthy, he's got to work his way back into a lineup that's been very successful.
And there is an issue with the clock that they are going to check here. So Buchanan has one more free throw coming up, just north of 6 minutes left to go in the first half. 6-point lead for GW. But the Rams, over the course of the last few minutes, have tightened things up here. When you look at the records for the Revolutionaries, again, I mentioned they've been terrific here at the Smith Center, 11-2, but 2 games under 500 on the road. Quite a disparity. And they have struggled over the last few seasons with VCU here at home, trying to turn things around and win tonight over the Rams for the first time in the last 4 outings here against this club on their home floor.
Though ironically, they won at VCU last year, so there might be a home court disadvantage as of late for this matchup. But with the transfer portal, these teams are so dramatically different year from year now. It's hard to read much into history.
Darren Buchanan, the team leader in made free throws. He connects on them both, and a 6-0 run for the Revolutionaries. So every time the Rams inch closer, the Revs stretch the margin back out.
The Hutchinson-Russell matchup is really intense.
Long pass into the corner for Jennings. Tipped, grabbed by Hanson. 7th turnover for VCU. Autry for his 3rd 3. Jennings again driving. The double comes. Looking for the outlet. Finally finds Russell. And now Clark wide open for a 3, and he jars that.
Sometimes it's not pretty, it's not aesthetic, but if you can handle the ball against pressure, you might get trapped, you might get pushed down to the baseline, but if you don't turn it over, sooner or later, all that defensive help will leave a shooter open.
Jack Clark now leading VCU in scoring with 8 points. And possession remains with GW here.
So there's the trap, and just being strong with the ball and getting the ball out of your hands. You know there's someone open because there's a double team. So there's a 4-on-3 behind you. What GW is doing effectively on defense is once the ball's on the side, not letting it come to the middle, forcing VCU to drive to the baseline and getting them into traffic.
Under 5 to play here in this opening frame. Five to shoot, and a turnover by the Revolutionaries, their 5th. So 12 combined turnovers in the first half between both of these squads.
And it's good defense. That was an excellent cut against Russell, but he recognized the cut.
Shulga against Drumgoole, and he draws the contact and the foul on Gerald Drumgoole.
So usually when you're in the corner, well, here's just Shulga at 6'5", and to me, he looks bigger than that. He just likes to, he doesn't blow by people, he goes over you. Not around you, over you. He's strong, and because he could shoot over you, people leave their feet to try to contest, and that's where his pump fakes are so effective.
And Shulga with his 101st made free throw of the season, leading this team by far in free throw makes on the year. The transfer from Utah State, who came over with his head coach Ryan Odom. Played 3 years out west. And goes 1 of 2 this time. But then right to Russell. And another opportunity for VCU. Shulga for his 2nd 3 comes up short.
Well defended by Drumgoole. Surprised he took that shot so quickly with that hand in his face by Drumgoole.
4 minutes, first half. 4-point game, and Castro lays it in. He's the first player on the night into double figures with 10 points.
And that's where GW uses him well, getting him away from the basket, using his quickness.
And Clark answers on the other end, and he's got 10 himself for the Rams. Back to a one-possession game. 3-point lead for GW with 3.5 left to go here in the first. Oh, and some miscommunication. Jennings lays it in, and VCU within one.
Yeah, you nailed the miscommunication part. Jones thought Moss was going to fade off a fade screen, and he didn't go to the spot.
Castro into Hansen. And a follow by Castro, but a whistle. And that's going to be a foul on VCU. All right, Ahmed, we look forward to that. VCU with a slow start, but they have quickly gotten up to speed. 2 of 9 in the early going, 9 of 12 since, and 60% from beyond the arc.
Both these teams are forcing turnovers. That was expected, but where the offenses are doing a good job when they don't turn it over is they're getting good shots. VCU's finding three-point shooters. GW's getting the ball to the rim and scoring against VCU's shot blockers, which you don't see very often.
Both teams shooting exactly 52% from the field in this first half, which is down to its final 3 minutes.
It's really either a turnover or a pretty good shot.
GW has never trailed in this game. They got out to an 8-0 lead, led by as many as 11. And now Castro here at the free throw line.
Castro's here because he crashes so hard. They boxed him out. Castro was tough to box out and drew the football equivalent of a holding penalty. Put himself on the line because of his ability, relentlessness, going for the rebound.
Leading the A-10 in double-doubles this season, could be on his way to another. Now 11 points to lead all scorers here so far tonight.
And both these teams, such good offensive rebounding teams, and they not only measure rebounding, they grade players based on their rebounding effort, whether or not they try to beat box outs, whether or not they crashed, or whether or not they loafed. So these players are good rebounders because they're evaluated constantly on this.
Yeah, that's something you don't see in the box score, the stat sheet, but the compete level, the attitude, and the want to when it comes to rebounding. That's something that is still so important.
You said so well.
Bamasil into the corner. Jennings swings it across. 7 to shoot. Russell against Hutchinson, who's playing great defense. He's got to hoist it up. And Jennings runs it down for the Rams.
And that's 4 people on the glass. It's interesting. People don't go back on defense for VCU. They send everyone to the glass. They're willing to get run on every now and then if it means a bunch of extra shots.
Russell coming up short. Batted around right to Bamasil, taking aim at a 3. And the rebound to Buchanan.
They didn't score, but that's why VCU's committed to it. All those extra opportunities.
And then Hansen is going to be fouled by Furman. And now GW in the bonus. They are shooting free throws the remainder of this first half. 2:08 left to go.
So, Steve, VCU in 11 A-10 games has taken 115 more shots than their opponents because of that offensive rebounding. I mean, you win a lot if you get 10 extra shots a game.
Yeah, they rebound 40% of their misses.
So the NCAA average is 30%. They're 25 in the country in the year in rebounding 36% of their misses. But in A-10 games, that's up to 40%. That's just unheard of.
Hansen misses at the free throw line. So many teams are nervous about getting beat down the floor, so they sit back and they don't commit to the glass.
100%, or at least you send your guards back so no one runs on you. But VCU does not have that fear. They want those extra shots.
Russell scopes out a 3 and he drills it. And it's the first lead of the night for VCU with just inside of 2 minutes left to go in the first half. How will the Revolutionaries respond here?
Got a mismatch with Buchanan, but Russell is such a tenacious defender. He won't let Buchanan get the ball, even though he has about 7 inches and 40 pounds on him.
Autry had it partially blocked with the shot clock winding down. Clark scopes out a 3. Bamasil coming in for the rebound. Clark the follow. Got his own miss. Shulga. He doesn't miss many looks like that.
No basket, but another example of flying to the glass.
That's a good look from Hansen to Autry, and he's fouled on the shot with under a minute to play.
Yeah, they might look at this because this was a push in the back. I'm not sure this was a basketball play.
Second personal foul on Philip Russell.
Yeah, if the GW bench had our angle, they'd be calling for a replay. Watch the two hands on the back over here. Well, it's one hand.
Now, head coach Chris Caputo just asked the officials if they were going to review it.
Let's see over here. Yeah, it's one hand, and it doesn't look like that hard of a push, but Autry was already going with so much momentum.
So Autry at the free throw line with a chance to reclaim the lead for George Washington as Hansen comes out. Trey Autry, a sophomore from just southeast of Syracuse, New York, coming off a 15-point performance against St. Bonaventure. The last two games over the course of these last 2 weeks have really been his best of the season.
Also dad of, or son of, Syracuse coach Reg Autry.
Philip Russell against Castro. Half a minute to go, and Russell launches the three.
How about Castro's defense on the much smaller Russell, moving his feet? What an athlete.
Timeout taken by GW. A tight one late first half here at GW. VCU just a moment ago took their very first lead of the night, and this is a team in the Rams that have been blowing out their opponents this season. Their average margin of victory is over 15 points a game. That's top 10 nationally. And during this recent stretch where they've won 9 of 10, all but one of their 9 wins have been by double digits. The other one by 9 points. So they play a lot of blowout games, not a lot of tight contests, but they're in a dogfight here tonight on the road at GW. Shot clock is off.
One of the shot clocks isn't operating.
I think there was a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never started the other one, so one was not in sync with the other. And now they got it right. 16.2 left. So that is the game clock the rest of the way. Shot clock off as we come down to the final seconds of this first half. Hutchinson, down low to Castro, hands off to Drumgoole, and they won't get another opportunity as the horn sounds. Working on what would be his 4th double-double in the last 5 games. Meanwhile, for VCU, how about this? They are shooting it better tonight from beyond the arc than they are from two-point land.
I'm going to heap some more praise on Castro. He's the best shot contester I've seen this year. Not necessarily shot blocker, but he is always long, got hands and faces, changing shots. And to piggyback on that bad 2-point percentage for VCU, they have 8 offensive rebounds and have not been able to score on any of those second or third chance opportunities.
23rd all-time meeting between these schools. It has been a series dominated by VCU where they've won 18 games. But George Washington did win on the road in Richmond last year and now trying to beat the Rams in consecutive outings for the first time ever. Quick foul here in the first 12 seconds going against the Rams. So what do you look for early second half in a tight game like this?
Both teams just having offensive flow, settling back in.
Drumgoole, rebounded by Castro, had it knocked away. And a player down behind the play. It looks like Michael Bell for VCU. There was definitely some heavy contact off the rebound.
Looks like Van Boye. This is a super physical game. Both teams crash relentlessly, and to combat that, you have to get a body on people, which means a lot of collisions.
Now let's take another look here. Ooh, yeah. The knee of Drumgoole gets into Luke Bamboye.
Yep. Bamboye playing great defense in that situation, protecting the rim by stepping out towards the block, not letting any baseline penetration, then going up vertically and now fouling, and he literally took one for his team.
He's just a freshman, but in the starting lineup for this team alongside 3 other seniors and a grad student.
Look at Castro's ability to switch to guard anyone on the floor. That's 6'11".
Clark in the corner for Shulga. Finds Furman, and Castro just stripped it right away. 2-on-1. Autry will launch the 3.
That's a phenomenal George Washington sequence, but I love that VCU gets the ball out of the net with a quick answer. To run on made shots is such a momentum stopper.
Christian Furman coming off a career-high 14 rebounds last year in the game against GW. And finishing quickly after this turnover where he had it stripped by Castro.
What VCU's doing so effectively, George Washington's doing so effectively, is forcing VCU to drive baseline, taking away their options, not letting them go middle, and then trapping and crowding that person on the baseline.
Castro spinning around Furman. The play of the night. The spin and the finish with authority. Rafael Castro leading all scores now with 13.
Bamboye not in help position on that. Furman was forcing Castro to the baseline, expecting Bamboye to be there. And when he wasn't, easy dunk for Castro.
Shulga doubled. Furman into the corner. Clark open for a 3. And the rebound to Russell, and he's going to be fouled by Drumgoole.
So right here, Furman's going to take away the middle, expecting help under the basket, but the help isn't there. And you see Furman put his arms up like, I'm supposed to send him to the baseline. And that is VCU's game plan against Castro, to not let him go middle and trap him when he goes baseline, but Bamboye just not in the right position.
Rafael Castro on pace to set the single season school record in field goal percentage for George Washington. He has been sensational this year, leading him in so many offensive categories. Shulga scopes out a 3 and he sticks it. Shulga, his second triple, and he's got 7 points on the game. And VCU forcing the steal. And Furman knocked away by Castro. And the foul is going to go against Rafael Castro.
So when you pressure the ball, you have to have help. And that time, just a little too much room for Shulga to get his shot off as Autry's helping. And then pushing the ball off of the steal. That's what VCU does. 40% of their points this year are off steals or second shots.
Bamboye wasn't watching. They got a break, though. It rolled right to Clark off the inbound. Another kick out, and Bamboye for 3. Offensive rebound by Furman. Extra pass for Russell, and he charged the 3-point basket. Philip Russell, the grad student from St. Louis, gives VCU their second lead of the night.
And that's the first basket off of 10 offensive rebounds that VCU has gotten. If they start to finish under offensive rebounds, you know, that's what's made them winning by an average of 15 points a game.
They had no second chance points in that first half. Now Castro banks it in.
I'm really surprised the second time. That time it was Shulga. Furman is sending Castro to the baseline, and the defensive game plan is not being executed. They actually want to double team Castro, but he's getting single coverage.
Here's Bamasil in the paint.
On GW, I'm going to Castro until VCU can fix their post defense.
First tie of the basketball game comes at 43 apiece, almost 4 minutes deep second half. Castro in the corner, drum goal for a threat.
Playing through Castro's going great for George Washington. That time Furman lets him go middle because he doesn't trust the help, and he kicks opposite.
But Clark answers with a corner three of his own. Now 3 of 5 from downtown. The only VCU player in double figures. He's got 13 points. And that's a miscue by Jones, who throws it over the top of Castro.
NCAA tournament berth without at least one quad one win. So that is quick. They got to be Dayton fans. When VCU is not playing Dayton, they got to be rooting hard for the Flyers.
Tie ball game here, and a foul called against Jacoy Hutchinson. So it was a 1-point game at intermission. We are tied here, early stages of the second half. So far here in this second frame, what has stuck out to you?
You know, it's still so early. Both teams are, it's a very evenly played game. I'm surprised teams are able to score. It's either what we see here, a turnover or a basket.
And now the pull-up three. Clark coming away. Now Zeb Jackson handing off for Clark. And finding Furman, who misses the chippy. 3-on-1. Autry hands it off, but it's blocked from behind by Christian Furman. He had the miss at the other end and then hustled back to make the defensive stop.
Great point, Steve. Don't stop and hang your head. Get back into play. And here's a fascinating psychological thing the VCU coaches told me about being such a good offensive rebounding team. That when you get a lot of rebounds off missed shots, all of a sudden missed shots aren't so painful. Guys don't hang their heads because they think, hey, it's okay. My teammate got the rebound, or we still scored. So these guys don't hang their heads at all on these missed shots. Part of it is because of that offensive rebounding.
5 minutes gone by, second half. Shot clock in single digits for the Revolutionaries. Castro into Buchanan.
GW can keep going to Castro. That was a great look by Buchanan because of the double team and the gravity. Castro will either be able to score or get a pass for a good shot.
Here is Zeb Jackson, and he's fouled on the shot.
GW's defensive footwork when the ball's on the side is to not let you go middle. So Jackson just goes explosive baseline. Right there, you see Buchanan's feet, cutting him off to the middle. So Jackson says, you're going to give me that angle, I'll take it.
Foul on Trey Moss, his first, and Zeb Jackson at the free throw line. Had a team high 17 points and 5 rebounds in the win at Dayton in their last game. An 88% free throw shooter leading this squad from the stripe. And Bamasil now to the bench as the Rams are back in front. And a 2-point lead with 14.5 left to play. VCU trailing most of this game, but the Rams have only one loss this calendar year. That was to St. Louis last month.
Love the full court pressure. Every dribble is contested. You got to fight for every inch against both these teams.
Castro against Furman, who gets the block. Jackson tried the no-look into Furman, but it was read well by Buchanan.
It's like playing against a team of all defensive backs. All these guys read eyes and anticipate steals so well.
That's 10 turnovers now on the Rams here this evening.
Furman, one of the best shot blockers on the A-10, and Castro should have thrown that back out because he was under the backboard. When you're uncomfortable, don't shoot it. And then Buchanan, one of the best there is at getting fouled. He's just a downhill driver. Before his injury, he was averaging 7.5 free throws a game. That's one of the highest foul drawing rates in the country.
And the foul on Max Shulga, his third personal foul. He's the first player in this game to get to 3 fouls, and that could loom large. He's their second leading scorer on the season and their best threat from deep.
And best all-around player and their leader and decision maker. I would think their Coach Odom's putting Jennings in for him right now.
Foul on Furman here on the Rams, and Shulga will check out. Brandon Jennings, the freshman from Richmond, a high school player of the year in the Richmond area, and staying at home to play college ball for VCU. Furman, with that last foul, picks up his third.
Boy, Russell fighting the big man Hansen.
That's a good find, but a better block by Clark. VCU so active down low in the paint.
Against both these teams, it's so hard to get a clean play without a pass being deflected or a shot blocked.
What does that do to an offensive player, does it?
You can't function when you're not comfortable.
Furman lays it up and in. And a whistle here, as VCU now has their largest lead of the night, out to 4 points. So if you're an offensive player, you have the ball psychologically, knowing that you got to get it up. Sometimes maybe it speeds you up more than you would like and kind of takes you out of your natural rhythm.
Pressure's hard to play against. Someone in your face when you have the ball. And then when you beat the pressure and you have shot blockers behind you, that's what makes an elite defense. Rim protection and pressure in the arc.
Well, the officials are over at the monitor here. First time they have gone to some kind of a review here. Not exactly sure yet what they're looking at. So a 4-point lead for the Rams over the Rebs. GW has gone scoreless for the last 3 minutes here. That's their largest drought of the game.
One of VCU's beliefs about their pressure is the other team will break. Sometimes the first 5 minutes in some of their blowouts, sometimes like Dayton, it's the last 5 minutes. But could this be the point where they wear down GW?
Well, the officials say that nothing is going to be called. It looks like they were looking to see if there was some kind of foul as Zeb Jackson absorbed the contact, but nothing called on the play, no foul.
Russell's tenacity is phenomenal, and I love the double team. I mean, you got to play twice. First, it's a lot of work just to get the ball up the court. Then you got to worry about scoring.
It illustrates how you have to stay engaged for every moment. Oh, that's a strong power move by Buchanan for the basket and the foul. Second time that he's gotten an and one here tonight.
VCU's post defense has been lacking. This should be a double team on the catch. Right now, Buchanan should be double teamed. They've worked on that. I mean, that's a 6'4" guard going up against a 6'7", 250-pound athlete in Buchanan. And that, I can tell you for sure that is not what VCU worked on before the game. They worked on double teaming Buchanan as soon as he gets the ball in the post area.
Second personal foul on the freshman Bamboye. That's one thing that the Rams are lacking. This is not a team that has many liabilities, but they don't have those physical bigs down low.
Yeah, you're right. Neither team does.
Deep three, and that is pure from Zeb Jackson. Came from Montverde, has 9 points on the night. GW spent most of the first half leading, but they have now trailed for the majority of this second frame. 8 to shoot. Buchanan will go it alone. And now the Rams out and running. Russell 1v1. Wisely backs it out. And then they find a wide open Bamboye. underneath, but it's stripped by Buchanan as he took it up. Terrific defensive play from Darren Buchanan. And now Jacoy Hutchinson. The scoop and the score. He's been an impact player off the bench tonight for George Washington.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Steve. Because of the relentless ball pressure, Hutchinson has not turned the ball over, gotten the ball over half court into GW's offense, and put some scoring punch on this in this game as well.
Russell off glass and in. Philip Russell, so crafty, so smart. He's got 9 points.
To your point, crafty, he was patient and probed the defense, hesitated, waited for the opening.
11 minutes left to play. 4-point lead for the visitors.
Now there's the double team that Coach Odom wants on Buchanan, but they can keep going to that, and they could create a shot for someone else.
Hansen fires a three.
Castro getting ready to come back in the game. They need him.
Clark left open, and he drills it from downtown. 16 points for Jack Clark to lead all scores.
And VCU's ramping up their pressure because they're trapping more now.
A 7-point lead for the Rams is their largest of the game. Timeout GW. Jack Clark, the grad student from Philadelphia, leading all scores on the night, has a very interesting history against GW. He played for them, or played against them, when he was at LaSalle. Had 17 points and 11 rebounds, went for a solid double-double. But as a freshman, he was injured in a game against GW, missed the rest of the season. So he's seen both ends of the spectrum, the good and the bad, when playing against this George Washington squad. But this is definitely on the good end of that barometer here tonight with 16 points.
Very close with Jack and his family. The person who signed him at LaSalle, and so happy for him being a part of that elite run, 8 run at Clemson, and hoping he gets another NCAA tournament run at VCU.
5 to shoot here. Halfway through this second frame. Hutchinson scoops it up. Castro the rebound. He had it blocked. And Bamasil gathers it in, but he's double teamed and dribbles out of trouble. Now Bell, and he traveled with the basketball. The Rams had the numerical advantage, so a tough turnover there.
You don't get in the top 40 in the country and top 2 of the A-10 without being good offensively and defensively.
Now the Rams have hit on the highest number of threes per game in school history this year. And again, having another terrific night from beyond the arc. That is what erased an 11-point first half deficit. And now looking to add to their second half lead. And a foul on Hutchinson as the Rams get the steal after the inbound.
The pressure is relentless. It's all game. It's every possession. And Russell really fuels it. Right there you see him anticipating the steal after the trap, after the ball pressure. And VCU will tell you, even against teams that handle the pressure, the disruption is worth it. Even against teams that don't have a lot of turnovers, if it's a close game, 1 or 2 steals makes all the difference. So they are committed to this aggressive style, and they have the depth to do it. So interesting story, Russell shooting the free throws, and Shulga's out there. Shulga committed to transfer to Villanova in the offseason. That's why they recruited Russell. When Shulga came back, Russell says, I still want to come. Then VCU has the deepest backcourt, most talented backcourt in the A-10. And the way they use that depth is by pressing relentlessly.
Russell with both free throws has 11 points, and that's 3 VCU players now in double digits on the night. Largest lead at 9 with 9.5 minutes left to play. And a whistle away from the basketball.
VCU's switching on to Buchanan, and Russell, obviously much smaller, but hand fighting down there, trying to keep Buchanan from getting the ball.
It's the 3rd personal foul on Russell. 6th team foul for the Rams in the second half.
There's the switch, and there you see the arm around the waist down there. Great job by the officials. If you want to watch tenacity, though, every once in a while, just watch Russell, who's out of the game now defensively, and his nose-to-nose combative style is something to watch.
And that is going to be a foul on Furman. That's going to be his fourth, and now George Washington is in the bonus with 9:18 left to go.
So this is the only statistical not good thing about VCU's defense. They do foul a lot. They do put the other team on the free throw line 4.5 times more a game than what they get, which is a thing. But once again, they believe the pressure, the disruption, the blocks, the steals are worth the cost. The benefits are worth the cost of sometimes losing that free throw battle if they win the steal battle and the field goal percentage battle and the possessions battle.
Both teams have been very good from the free throw line tonight. Collectively, they've taken 21 and only missed 3.
So if GW can avoid turnovers, continue to play through Castro and Buchanan, that's a formula for offensive success and getting to the free throw line.
I should not have mentioned the free throw success. Of course, right on cue, they get a miss. Right. So I'll take the hit on that one. 9 minutes to go. 8-point lead for the Rams on the road.
It's the forcing baseline.
And a travel.
And it works again. I'm so impressed with, to be good at something, you have to do it consistently. And GW, look at this defense, forcing the drive to the baseline into help, creating yet another turnover. And here's something else VCU's not doing well. They said GW is so good keeping the ball on the side, we got to play in the middle of the floor more.
Buchanan had it blocked by Bamboye. A vicious swat.
So when you pressure, you better be ready to help or have shot blockers. These teams do both. That's why they're so good defensively.
Shulga feeds Bamboye. He's going to turn and find the hook off glass and in. And now for the first time, the Rams lead is double digits here with just north of 8 minutes left to play. So this revolutionary squad that at one point led by double digits themselves now find themselves trailing by 10. 3 from Autry, and they needed that. He's now 2 of 6 from downtown on the night.
Terrific job of Hutchinson beating the press and then getting the open 3 for Autry before VCU can recover.
Bamasil eyes a 3 and he drains it. Timeout for the Rams. VCU has certainly fallen in love with the three-point shot tonight. Shooting better from 3 than they are from 2. Hitting at 54% from beyond the arc.
And their defense has picked up as well, holding GW to just 36% from the field in the second half. And we see it right here. Just pressure baseline to baseline.
10-point lead with under 8 to play for the Rams. For GW, the offense has kind of gone cold here in the second half. How do they get things jump-started?
Castro and Buchanan, they can score or draw a double team and kick out to someone for a good shot. It's interesting now, Bamboy affronting Castro. They must have gotten the message.
Hutchinson lost it. And Zeb Jackson will spin, drive, feed. And then it's turned over. Autry leads a 2-on-1. Will take it himself, but miss on the shot.
Textbook vertical by Shulga, jumping straight up in the air, which is legal, contesting the shot.
Shulga has been in there playing with 3 personal fouls for the last 5 minutes, too. Turns, fades, and connects.
We talked about it. Shulga shoots over people. Even the 6'10" Hansen, he uses the step back to shoot over the bigger player. He's so skilled. Shulga is the rare player who's literally good at everything. Ball handling, passing, shooting, finishing, defense. Just a terrific all-around player. Why he is potential player of the year.
The lead up to a dozen, and Castro takes a shot, but he also picks up the foul, and he'll have a pair of free throws coming up.
Here's how not to foul, but still make someone miss. Jump straight up, And then on the other end, knowing how to go over people. If it's bigger, you might have to use a little step back. Now, what I liked about that last play for GW, we mentioned going to Buchanan or Castro, and it looks like Castro might be missing a contact.
Might have popped out, so.
But Castro, that last time, Bamboy would not let him get the ball in the post. So if you can't get in the post, get it to him at the elbow and let him go one-on-one from there. Plus, it's tougher for him to double, but the trainer's going to have to try to be an all A10 level trainer over here now to get the best player back on the court.
Well, you got the wraps, you have the braces, you have the stitches, but you got to also have the contact solution.
The athletic trainers are priceless. They never have a day off. Even when the team has a day off, they're doing rehab, and you know, they're so important to the success of a team.
And you got to have it all in that medical bag, right?
Yep.
Now, this is the contact that he absorbed that dislodged the contact.
Wow. So VCU fans have to be disappointed with that, because that's about as clear of a foul as you could imagine.
So vision restored, and he will head to the free throw line. If you've ever dealt with contacts, you know the pain. You feel the agony of that contact that pops out. It gets a little dry, and you're trying to pop it back in. If we all had trainers walking around with us in everyday life, it would be so much easier. Rafael Castro now with 17 points, leading GW yet again.
He's so unbelievably consistent, just game to game. A breathing, walking, living double-double machine.
6 of 8 from the free throw line as well. But it's a 10-point deficit for the Revolutionaries, and we're coming up on the final 6 minutes. GW with a win would secure their first winning season in 8 years. They've got to climb out of this hole. Russell the extra pass, corner 3 from Clark. Off of Shulga and out over to the Revs.
Clark is so good at the point of this press. Any press or zone is determined by the people at the front. Can they be disruptive? Clark is.
Rhythm dribble, and then Autry connects from deep. His third three-point basket.
You nailed it, Steve. Usually when you make people dribble, their shooting percentage goes down, but you could see Autry had a lot of reps on that side dribble.
Bamasil around Castro.
And it's really the post up by Bamboye that prevented Buchanan from trying to block that shot. Sealed, shielded Buchanan away so that the easy layup could be gotten.
Backdoor for Drumgoole, and he had it blocked by Clark. Jack Clark into the corner. Bamasil can't hit from 3. And a foul on the floor, on the rebound, and it's against GW.
So something that Coach Odom and Jack Clark shared with me when I said, tell me about this team. And they both talked about the chemistry, the confidence the players have in one another, the trust they have in one another. They think they could be special, not because they think they're a good player, but because they think their teammates are good players. So the cohesiveness of this team and the way they pass the ball is just based on that belief in each other.
And to have that in this era of the portal, when you have new teammates all the time, there's constant turnover, that's a rare commodity.
Well, and you're completely right, and it comes from playing against each other and respecting each other.
14 turnovers for the Rams. That will not be something that they will look back on fondly here tonight, even if they do come away with the win. They lead the conference in turnover margin, but not here tonight.
And that's because GW turns people over, leads the league in steals per game. Both coaches knew turnovers would be a big part.
Trey Autry hanging and hitting.
Such a tough shot because Shoulder once again did a great job going straight up vertically. So that was a shot against strong defense.
7-point game.
GW sending everything to the baseline.
Knocked away by Hutchinson.
The hands on both teams are so active.
Getting steals without fouls, too, when they're playing that physical. Closing in on the final 4. Autry, pull up 3. And now Zep Jackson will replace Bamaseal. VCU trying to run their winning streak to 4 in a row. It would be their 10th win in their last 11 games. A team that is picked to finish first in the A10. And they have the most wins of any school since joining the conference as well. Oh, Russell almost launched the deepest 3 of the night. Instead, he'll drive. And then he lost it off his knee and out of bounds. 16 turnovers for
they
the
are
Rams.
long, they move their feet laterally, they pressure, and if you get to the rim, that length turns from pressure into shot blocking. That's why this is one of the best defensive teams in the country and poised for an at-large NCAA tournament berth.
Had a huge win in their last game at Dayton, despite only shooting 36% from the field and 21% from three-point range. And it was largely because they had a big advantage on the board. They forced a lot of turnovers, and it was a huge road win over the Flyers. Tonight, they've shot the ball much better in coming back from a double-digit first-half deficit to now take this 7-point lead.
Coach Odom said something important. He said, we don't have to shoot the ball well to win for all those reasons you just mentioned. They're good defensively. They get a lot of extra shots as well.
Autry tripped but found Castro against Furman, who has 4 fouls, and that should take him out of the basketball game. So Christian Furman is going to foul out here with 3:24 remaining.
And GW is in position to be able to win this game with these free throws by Castro. And so impressed by Castro on this possession because Furman did a good job. And Castro did not rush things. He took another pivot to get an angle underneath the backboard and draw a foul.
So it will be Bamboye who replaces him. Christian Furman, the junior from a small town south of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Very interesting cat. One of 8 kids in his family. Not only excelling at basketball, but he plays the drums, the guitar, he writes poetry, a very well-rounded college student.
That's amazing sounding.
Now, Rafael Castro at the free throw line. He's 6 of 8 on the night from the stripe. The team now 12 of 16 from the free throw line.
So interesting. GW has Hutchinson and Jones in together. They don't normally do that. It's their 2 point guards, and obviously the purpose is to have extra ball handlers against this pressure late. And I would expect extra ball handlers to get the ball to Buchanan and Castro in the half court. But to get it to them, you got to get it across half court, hence the 2 point guards in at the same time.
The latest half a dozen for the Rams, closing in on the final 3 minutes. Shot clock in single digits. Shulga for Jackson.
And that's where the maturity of the guard play for VCU is so evident. The poise, the chemistry. You could just see Shulga looking at Jackson the whole time.
Castro into the corner, and a foul Autry got knocked down, but still buried it from downtown.
The gravity of Castro, we talked about it, the double team. Now skip to the corner and a banked-in shot off the foul. And even Shoulder with an uncharacteristic, foul in that situation. Usually Shoulder really smart at avoiding fouls.
And Shulga now has 4 fouls on the game. Autry at the free throw line after his 5th three-pointer of the night. And that's the second 4-point play of the game for GW.
Keep playing through Castro and Buchanan because they draw extra defenders, open it up for shooters.
Jackson is fouled. Going to the rack. And now going to the free throw line.
So when someone pressures you, and you see the hand in there, but the foul was not on Jones, but that goes to show just how hard it is to get to the rim without someone getting a hand on the ball in this game.
Well, one thing the fans can look forward to, if anybody from VCU misses 2 consecutive free throws, it is free Bolivian cookies for the crowd.
Wow.
I'm guessing, even though I've never had Bolivian cookies, I am surmising that they're not Oreos.
They sound great.
That they're not made by an elf in a tree. So on the miss, the rebound to GW. 2:25 left in a 5-point game.
Mismatch, get it to Castro. Got to get it to him. Good job by Russell making it hard.
Buchanan against Shulga, who has 4 fouls. And that's going to be it. Shulga will foul out. So that's the second player to foul out for VCU. And Buchanan is slow to get up.
A highly significant development. Not only the upcoming free throws for George Washington, but Shulga, the primary decision maker, the guy with poise that VCU looks to in close games now, will not be on the court anymore.
He had 20 points in the game against GW last year, but he exits tonight with just 9. So the senior from Ukraine is now out, and Buchanan at the free throw line.
Buchanan and Castro both get fouled a lot. Continue to go to him if you're GW.
Buchanan now 5 of 6 from the free throw line on the night. 4-point lead with 2 minutes to go. VCU trying to keep pace with George Mason near the top of the conference. They get another offensive rebound, and Buchanan commits the foul on Zeb Jackson.
Not a great foul in that situation. First, great contest by Castro. I feel Castro is the best shot contester I've seen. And that is just a reach. That is disruption, but not with discipline. You want both. You want to pressure with your feet, not necessarily put him on the line, because the defense has been good for GW.
So in the bonus here, Jackson has been very good from the free throw line here tonight. Now 6 of 7 from the stripe.
Yeah, there's a difference between active hands, tracing the ball, and flat out slapping at the ball or reaching.
VCU trying to win their 4th consecutive game. Jacoy Hutchinson is going to be fouled. And let's see who they're going to get here.
Love the fake handoff play. Going to the wing, acting like you're going to hand it off, slowing down, hesitating to emphasize, hey, I'm going to hand it off, then turn the gas on.
So that's the 4th on Bamboye. And Hutchinson now with 2 free throws.
Hutchinson has had a terrific game.
But these are his first free throws of the night.
just one turnover against constant pressure. And Russell has been all over him, and Hutchinson has not backed in down 1 inch.
Jacoy Hutchinson, one of GW's highest ever recruits in terms of ranking and rating. And he misses both of his free throws here. A minute and a half left to go. And the lead is still 6 for the Rams. Trying to win their 20th game of the season. And it would be their 4th consecutive 20-win season if they can close this one out. Six to shoot. Jackson for Bamboye. They got to get it up, and Bamasil not only gets up, but he gets it down. Under a minute left to play. And an official's timeout here.
Yeah, the clock didn't stop on the main basket. They're going to have to correct that.
So they're going to put more time back on the clock. It kept running after the Bamasil flush.
And it's the cut. You see Autry trying to deny him the ball. Whenever you can't catch the ball, that means your defender's between you and the ball, but not between you and the rim. It's the perfect time to cut when you can't catch the ball.
Joe Bamasil, in just his second game against his old team, had 18 points last year. And so far tonight with a dozen on the board. Played at Oklahoma last year before transferring to VCU for this season. He played here at GW as a sophomore when he was 4th in the A-10 in scoring. And that came after a stint as a freshman at Virginia Tech. So Bamasil has been around the block and then some. He has really settled into this VCU lineup, leading them in scoring this season, averaging 16 per game. So they're going to figure out exactly how much time to put back on the clock.
Right there, the clock's continuing to run where it should have stopped, right at 101. Yeah, last 2 minutes, the clock stops after made baskets. They'll fix that quickly, so it's pretty clear what needs to be done.
5 players for VCU in double figures on the night. This is the first Rams team in over 2 decades that has had 4 players average 11 points or more per game. They have depth, they have versatility, they have scoring across the board. This is a team that has a lot of ingredients that could, if they cook it up right, place them in the NCAA tournament.
No, I couldn't agree more, Steve. I mean, they're elite rebounding, they're elite shot blocking, they're elite creating turnovers, they make threes. Probably most importantly, they have 4 fifth-year guards. You know, guards are like quarterbacks. They're the most important positions because no matter how good your shooters or big guys are, if you can't get the ball, you aren't going to have success.
Now VCU trying to finish it off and beat GW here on the Revolutionaries' home floor for the 4th time in a row.
So I was wrong on that. It's not under 2 minutes when the clock stops. It's under 1 minute. So that basket was made with 1:01. So correctly, the clock should have continued to run. You always learn something.
So an 8-point lead, 46.9 on the clock. Buchanan for Autry for his 6th 3 of the night. But he'll have 3 free throws instead.
Still works out very well for GW. 3 free throws with the clock stopped. Absolutely hit on the elbow. And I understand the need to contest the 3 by Bamasil. But I'm not sure time and score dictates you want to be that aggressive.
Free throw shooting has dropped for GW here in the second half. They were 80% from the line in the first frame, but under 60% here in the second half of play. Autry hits on his first 2, and he's had himself some kind of night. A sophomore from upstate New York. who's been at his best this season in these last 3 games. Team high score on the night, now with 23 points.
And GW is just a turnover or some missed VCU free throws away from really having a chance in this game. But they need one of those 2 things, turnovers or missed free throws.
7-second difference, shot clock to game clock. Russell ahead to Clark. Half a minute to go. And the foul by Castro. The Rams very good from the free throw line, 10 of 12 on the night. And so now the 1-and-1 coming up, trying to extend this lead, and it is Jack Clark, the grad student, with his 5th different team. Clark with his first free throw of the night. Team leader in scoring, though, for VCU here. He's got 17 points, 6 of 9 shooting from the field. And now 2 of 2 from the free throw line.
Surprised VCU still pressing. Although by not trapping, they can make GW take time off the clock, so it ends up being smart.
3-possession game with 20 seconds to go. Castro misses on the dunk, but Bamboye is going to be called for his 5th foul, and it's the 3rd Ram to foul out here in this game.
Let's see if he stayed vertical, because if you bring your arms down at all and cause contact on the shot, it's a foul. You really have to have your arms straight over your head. Let's see if he brings his arms down. There, it's straight up, and it's subtle. But you could see how, boy, that's really close. That's really close.
So Furman, Shulga, and Bamboye all gone. Bamboye, the freshman, and one of 2 players from London on the Rams roster this year.
So with this time and score, I actually like this small lineup with Clark at the center position, because now you'll see VCU switch everything, which will not allow GW to get an open 3.
Well, the lack of free throw shooting success here down the stretch may end up really costing GW. Several players missing some key free throws. So with just about 16 seconds left to go, it's a 2-possession game. VCU trying to win on the road and secure their 20th win of the year. This would be their 4th straight 20-win season, and it would also be their 4th consecutive win over GW here in DC. They lead by 6 with just inside of 16 seconds left to play. Shot clock is off here. And the Rams trying to win their 4th game in a row and 10th of 11. Into Bamasil, and he's fouled by Hansen. Now the Rams trailed by 11 points at one time in that first half. GW got off to a hot start. The Rams were not shooting the ball well. They were turning the ball over. In fact, they have the 2nd most turnovers of any game this season here tonight. But despite some of those obstacles, they've been able to overcome. They've shot the ball well from 3. And as a result, they're in position to win a tight one on the road. And keep in mind, as we said earlier, this is a team that typically blows out other schools. Their average margin of victory this season is over 15 points a game. That's top 10 nationally, and this has been a single-digit game most of the way.
Yeah, Coach Caputo is not into moral victories, but to your point, they have disrupted VCU more than any team this year with their defense. And at the end, VCU with just too much shooting.
And GW about to slip to 2 games under 500 in league play. and miss an opportunity to secure their first winning season in 8 years. Autry launching the three. And it's off of Clark. It'll stay with GW, but VCU can rest easy. And the VCU faithful coming to their feet here as time winds down. And the Rams, with the 8-point win, have now locked in their 4th straight 20-win season as they go to 20-5 on the year. They win for the 4th straight time here at GW.